Hi, it's Ashley in Africa. Welcome to my channel where I talk all things moving, living, and doing business on the continent of Africa. If that sounds interesting to you, welcome. Please subscribe to my channel and share it with someone that you would feel might find value in the content that I'm sharing. Today, we're talking about how to financially prepare to live your best life. So, my best life, I've determined, is on the continent of Africa. And so, little did I know, I was preparing myself to live the life of my dreams way before I had even known that Africa was an option. I grew up in a not so financially astute environment. My mom was in public housing. We received food stamps and she received a lot of government assistance. But at the time, she was in school working really hard for my sister and I to have a better life. And so we started from super humble beginnings. And quite frankly, my relationship with money was one of a scarcity mindset, which I think a lot of Black women and men here in the US, but also on the continent, grow up with because that's what we're taught. A lot of our family members didn't always have an abundance of money. And so our mindset wasn't that of abundance. It was, in fact, that of scarcity. So I'm going to jump right in and talk about the ways in which you can prepare yourself financially to live the life of your dreams. And I got a little ahead of myself by jumping into the first one, which was number one, understanding your relationship with money. Why do you have the relationship with money that you have today? So, as I mentioned, I grew up in lack. I grew up not necessarily wanting for anything, but I knew that we couldn't have everything and I knew that we didn't have a lot. So we had to be very resourceful with what we did have. And so that caused me to go into my young adulthood with this feeling of lack. So spending, not understanding what I was spending, why I was spending it, and ultimately finding myself in serious debt in my 20s because I had literally no financial education and hadn't really sat down to understand, why do I deal with money this way? So after filing bankruptcy, owing almost $750,000, yeah, that's a lot of money, almost 700,000. I think it's close to like $800,000 in debt. I mean, I had purchased some properties, some cars, had student loan debt, credit card debt. I was doing the most, doing a whole lot, trying to figure out what my American dream would look like at a young age, but hadn't established the tools and understood my relationship with money so that I could hold on to it. So that's number one, understanding your relationship with money. And if you do have this lack mindset, shifting that into an abundance mindset. So knowing that money is flowing to you easily and frequently, that you don't have any lack. So no matter what that bank account looks like, everything that I need is going to flow to me easily and frequently, just when I need it. And so I want to say that it's been about 10 years that I've developed this mindset of money flows to me easily and frequently. I don't worry about money. I'm not saying that I don't pay attention to my money and I spend it frivolously, but I recognize that everything that I need is flowing to me easily and frequently. So money is included in that. So it's super important to shift your mindset from I don't have, I'm broke, I need, I don't have enough, I want, to everything I need is flowing to me easily and frequently. And I promise you, you'll start to see things change in your life, but also your finances. So number two is developing a savings mentality. So like I mentioned, I just used to spend money. I got paid, I bought some shoes. I got paid, I went out and balled out at the mall with my friends. I got paid and I would spend it. Like, what is the song? I'm gonna spend it, get it back. Yes. And unfortunately, that's the mentality of so many Black folks. We spend for today, we think for today. And I had to develop a savings mentality, and that was a shift for sure. I want to say that it didn't happen until I got into my 30s where I started to make, substantial income where I could start to save a little bit of money. And so this isn't necessarily the long route, but it's really good because you have to develop habits of putting money away without even knowing that you're doing it. So the ways that I started to do this was setting up an automatic deposit from my checkings to my savings account. At first, it started at $25. It then grew to $75. That grew to $250. And eventually, I started to be able to save $500 a month. That was my checking to savings. And then I started to understand more about life insurance and disability insurance, and that the most valuable asset that I had was my ability to work. And so these insurance had premiums, they cost money, but to me, I saw it as a savings cushion. So I set that up with my financial advisor at the time, who is still my financial advisor almost 15 years later, where we were putting in money regularly into that insurance portfolio. Then I was able to recognize the importance of having an emergency fund. So if something happens, do I have 3 months of my living expenses saved up? And so those three things, my automatic savings, my insurance portfolio, and my emergency fund, were ways where I started to develop a savings mentality. Before I would spend a dime of my check, I was putting money into one of these 3 buckets every month without hesitation, automatically. And so then I began to be able to shift those things around, which I'll get into later as another way that you're able to set up yourself financially for a life of your dreams. The third way is to budget. I know I hate this term too. Budget. I don't want to budget. It's annoying, yes, but it's necessary. Knowing what you spend every day, every week, every month. I was notorious at a point where I was checking my accounts every single day. Every week, I would sit down and I would write out, how much did I spend on rent? How much did I spend on groceries? How much did I spend on car insurance? How much did I spend on my car note? How much did I spend on my electricity bill? How much did I spend on my cell phone, et cetera, et cetera? You get the point. So understanding what I was spending versus what I had coming in let me know how much money I was saving and what areas I could work with or what areas I could wiggle with. At this point, I was already allocating that $250 to $500 a month into my savings account automatically. So that was a part of my budget, but knowing what I was spending was super important, especially in this digital age of tapping to pay, cash apping, Zelling, PayPaling, and not really knowing where money is coming from. It's super important to know, what am I spending? And do I really need to be spending on that? So the budgeting, super important. I say for like 3 to 4 years, every single day, I was checking all of my accounts and looking for anything that I could change or shift or not spend on. And even today, I do sit down regularly every month and go through, what did I spend? What did I have coming in this month? And making sure that I'm at a surplus and not a deficit. And if I am at a deficit, how can I change that? So if you've made it this far in the video, please be sure to leave me some money bags in the comments. Drop a couple money bags. Let me know that you're really serious about creating a financial future for yourself so that you can live the life of your dreams. So, number 4. So taking that money that you saved after you've developed a savings mentality, you already understand that you've got to shift your mentality to an abundance mindset, not of lack, and you know what you're spending every month. You've rectified where you can cut back a little, where you may need to shift some of that spending, and you might need to tell your girls, your bros, like, I can't hang out with you tonight. Now you have money to invest. So this is where my life changed for the better. I was committed to figuring out how I would be able to not trade my time for money. So how did I do that? I started investing. I started investing in money market accounts that were mixed with different type of funds. At the time and in the beginning, I was super against risk. Like, I wasn't really risky, but I wanted to have some risk because I'm young enough that I can recoup. I also started investing in companies. So for me, I'm an advocate of identifying really, really strong talent that have abilities to go for the moon, but oftentimes don't have access to those opportunities. So I invested in tech startups. I invested in production companies. I invested in cleaning companies. Not all of them did well, but ultimately it's taught me where my strength and my talents lie. I've invested in real estate. Again, something that I probably won't do again, but I've learned that that's not what I'm going to do in the future. So it's essentially a trial and error. Investing is, but it's one of those things that you can do that really is going to help you to make money even when you're asleep. So you no longer have to trade that time for money. Whether that's in people, in businesses, in the stock market, and in crypto, real estate, figure out what's going to work for you and start to allocate some of that surplus from your budget that's not going into your automatic savings for your emergency fund, but being able to now figure out how to make your money work for you. So today, I no longer invest in real estate. I'm not really investing in companies anymore, but I'm heavily invested in the stock market and crypto. But who's to say, like, that could shift as I've, spent time on the continent. I absolutely see the opportunity for investment in real estate, but also into the talent and into people. So hopefully that will become a part of my portfolio as I, continue on this financial journey. So the last thing in making sure that you set yourself up financially to live a life of your dreams is develop some digital real estate. What does that mean? And I'll coin this term that actually I heard from a fellow YouTuber. Her name is Erica, and she has a YouTube called Classy Climbers, where she teaches people all over the world how to make money, all different type of ways. And digital real estate was something that I heard her say, and I was like, duh, like a light went off. So digital real estate looks like YouTube. It looks like community online, Patreon, Facebook. It looks like selling courses. Every single person has value to add to this world. You've been through something and you've experienced something that somebody else can relate to and that somebody else finds of value. So developing your place in this digital world that is only going to grow is another way that you can bring in money, not only while you're asleep, but while you're asleep. I mean, and it's a process, right? Like, I didn't just jump up one day and like, yeah, I want to do a YouTube. I mean, it's been phenomenal. It's been so much fun. And it's also allowed me to tap into so many creative spaces. And I'm like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And the opportunities are endless. It also provides as a thought leadership platform. So today I'm interviewing with a potential partner that I'm super excited about, but having my own digital real estate ups my value when I start working with these strategic partners. So, financial freedom is something that you can absolutely have. And quite frankly, you deserve. You are worthy. Everything you need and want flows easily and frequently to you, for you. So let's get into the mindset of start doing some of these things because you deserve to live the life of your dreams. So if this resonated with you, go ahead and like this video, share it with somebody that you feel would find some value in what I've shared, and drop me some money bags below to let me know that you loved it. And I want to talk about what y'all want to hear about. So feel free to comment and leave me some suggestions on some content that you want me to share. But until next time, bye.